Welcome to Jasco Goods.
Really? This guy again?
Wall decor is a pretty big seller for woodworkers. Or in French, it's wall décor, oui, oui, bonjour.
It's okay. He's an idiot.
There's a bunch of really low-cost, simple projects you can build in a few hours and make a pretty big profit off of. I was searching online for some really good woodworking projects that you can sell and make money off of, and I came across this one. You're not gonna believe the profit they're getting off of it and how easy it is to build. They are making way more than they should be off of it. So in this video, I'm gonna show you guys how to build this thing, and then I'll show you a few ways to save money on materials that I found when I was building it. And honestly, this one looks so good, I'm gonna make one for myself, and you'll probably wanna make one for yourself too, even if you don't sell them. So enough talking, let's get to building. First thing I need to do is cut down some 1x4. This one's almost bigger than my whole shop. First, we're gonna cut the long vertical piece. This one's gonna be at 35 3/4. I had to open my garage to cut this one. Now we need two pieces at 10 3/4 of an inch. Sometimes when I'm cutting boards and I want them the same size and I don't want to set up a stop block for just a few boards, I cut the first board just past the mark. Then I take that board and I put it over the rest of the piece that I'm cutting from. Then I make sure the back of it's nice and flush. Then I cut them both on that first line that I made. And bam, two boards the exact same size. Then I sanded all the boards with 150 grit sandpaper just to get them nice and smooth before I started assembling them. So now I'm gonna use my pocket hole jig and I'm gonna put some pocket holes on one side of my 10 3/4 inch boards, the ones that are gonna attach to the longer board. Now I'm a special ed dropout, so I made sure to put arrows on the side of the board where I wanna put the pocket holes because I get mixed up real easy. So now I'm gonna attach the 10 3/4 inch horizontal boards to the tall vertical board. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark down from the top 10 3/4 inches, or just use your piece that you just made because that's 10 3/4 inches. All you gotta do is set it on top and then make a line. Align the top of your board to that line on both sides. And then I'm gonna bring mine out to this edge right here because my vertical board is kind of bowed. So I'm afraid when I attach them that there's gonna be a gap. So if I clamp it to the table, both of them, it'll get that bow out and it should be nice and even, depending on what I have on my table. And then I'm gonna clamp this one down where I want it. How am I gonna put pocket hole screws in if I put it right there? That was a test to see if you guys are paying attention. I almost forgot glue. I'm gonna put a little bead of glue on here, make sure I'm on the right side. You know, I will flip it around and glue the wrong side or something. I'm getting better at double checking. Now I'm gonna put a screw in. It's a little bit overlapped. I get this pesky perfectionist thing. Try to say that 3 times. So I'm gonna back out the screws and give it another try. See if I can use this clamp to push it into place. So now I'm just gonna put the screws back in and hope for the best. Whoa. Oh, much better. And then I just did the same exact thing for the other side. Quabam! Okay, so now I need a 1x3, but first I gotta cut off the factory edge because it's drier than a KFC biscuit. Here's a money-saving tip. Don't get married. Just kidding, just kidding. Marriage is great. Use a 1x3 furring strip. It's way cheaper. We need 2 of these at 10 3/4 of an inch. What the heck is that? So now I need another piece at 34 3/4 inches. I gotta open my garage to cut this one. Oh, hey, Miss Jones. Okay, so now the 1x3 should fit inside the 1x4 and give it a perfect 1/2 inch reveal all the way around. So you could build this like this and hang it on the wall like that, and you'd have like a double cross, and it would look pretty cool. You can stain them different colors if you wanted, the top cross and the bottom cross. What I'm gonna do is this is actually gonna be the back of it, and it's gonna hold it out from the wall, and I'm gonna have some lights that go around the inside of it that you won't see because it'll be tucked in. Now I'm gonna have to cut a little section out of the 1x3, the long part, so it can hold I can put the battery holder in it for the lights and the buttons and everything. There's a button on there. That's how you turn the lights on. And then the lights are gonna come out of that. I could have gave it to you in 2 halves, but I wanted to look at this and see how it looks with a double cross. So these are the lights I'm using. I'm only using one. They're like $9 for these. So I think the blue one was a little bit more. I'm not sure. Well, I got a blue one and a white one. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use, but it's hard to find battery operated lights that are this long. Usually they're really short or they're just fairy lights. So this box is about 3 3/4 tall. I'm just going to go to 4 inches. I always like to round my inches up. Like some people will say, how tall are you? And I'm like 5'9 3/4, but I just tell people 6 foot. So as you can see, that fits in there good at 4 inches. And then look, it clears, oops, that didn't clear it. And it clears a 3/4 inch height. One more thing I gotta do before I attach the 1x3s is put a keyhole slot in my top piece. And I'm gonna use this keyhole slot jig that I made. A lot of people ask me how I made this jig, and you can kind of see how it's really simple. It's just a couple of pieces of particle board on the bottom and then some 1x2 on the top. And this space right here is the perfect size for my router base. Then I slide the boards that I want to put a keyhole slot in through here, and I just line them up with this edge up here. And I have my marks on here of where to start the router and then where to stop the router. Now I'm doing 1x3 right now, so I actually had to make these 1/2 inch shims to hold the 1x3 in. And then I just clamp the jig to the table and it's in there pretty tight. This may be a little bit of overkill, but this line represents where the bit enters, and then I push this forward until the edge of my plate touches that second line, and then I pull it back and back out. I'm just gonna attach the 1x3s with a little bit of glue and some 18 gauge brad nails. I'm using 1.25 inches. I used to have a 16 gauge brad nailer, but one of my crackhead relatives stole it out of my garage to sell it for drugs. I'm just using these 1/2 inch shims I made for my jig to get a 1/2 inch from the edge. Make sure I'm a 1/2 inch from the edge all the way around. Using my old bottle again. Some people complain about the noises it made, but I'm not gonna get a new bottle. I got one of my eyelashes in the glue. I like to leave a part of myself to everything I make. Usually it's a booger, but this is a cross. It just hit me. I might have been using too long of nails, and now I'm checking the back. I probably should have did that after the first shot, or before I even shot one in. Now before I stain it, I wanted to do a little bit of touch-up sanding to get any like scratches or nicks that may have occurred during the process. I almost shorted, but luckily I was able to use my bionic speed to make it to the bathroom just in time. I could tell this wood was really dry when I was working with it, so rather than try to use a regular stain, I'm using this Advanced Formula Bear stain. Any Advanced Formula or premium stain would work better on a dry pine like this than a classic, like classic Minwax or something. It absorbs it too much and it makes it really blotchy, where this kind of gives you a nice even tone. So that's why I use this one again. It's the Bear Provincial. And then for a top coat, I just used this water-based matte finished polyurethane. My can was getting pretty old and lumpy inside, so I used this screen to screen it out when I poured it into my separate container. And it worked pretty good. You can see all the lumps stuck to the screen. And I did several coats of this. I did a coat, let it dry for an hour or so, then I'd sand it down with 400 grit sandpaper, and then I'd go over it again with another coat. And then I flipped it over and I did the backside too, just for 2 reasons. One, the sticky side of the lights sticks better to the clear coat. And also, you don't want to leave unsealed wood because it moves a lot more than sealed wood. Meaning the unsealed wood is a lot more susceptible susceptible, however you say that word. It's affected more by the elements in the air and the moisture in the air. Now it's time to put the strand lights on. I got them off of Amazon, and I got a blue set and a white set. I'm only going to use one set, and I couldn't really decide which one to use. My family went with the blue, so that's the one I'm going to put on. The set came with the battery pack, the strand of lights, and a remote. First thing I'm going to do is attach the battery pack to it, and it comes with a little hoop in it that you can hang it on the wall or whatever you're going to hang it on. Oh, my screw was too small. I had to dig through my little bin of miscellaneous screws, but I found a little pan head. All right, let's try this again. There we go. I didn't realize there was this much extra on here, so I don't know if I should wrap it around this thing because I can't make it. Maybe I'll go this way and then come back up. Because otherwise, if I go this way, I don't have it. There's nothing sticky on here. So I'll just wrap it this way and then I'll start sticking this part on. And this part is just peel and stick. And if you happen to make this too big or too small, I should say, you can cut this stuff. Now would be a great time for me to beg for that YouTube stuff, the likes, the subscriptions, hit the bell notification, hype the video, get my name tattooed on your arm, all that fun stuff. And I am building a cross. What would God think if you didn't like this video right now? Oh, God, I'm sorry. That was a joke. I'm only joking. They can like the video if they want. So here's how close my calculations were. There's the start of it, and here's the end of it. Look at that. And then, I don't know if you see these lines on here. Now, if you want, you can cut it at these lines, and I can cut it back to here. And I don't think that would make a difference, but I'm just gonna run it all the way. I don't think it's gonna do anything. I'm just gonna run it to the end, like, well, not that bad, but you know what I mean. So before we see the finished item, I wanted to show you guys the listings I found online. And I don't know if you can see this one right here. This one's already sold out right now. When I found it, it wasn't sold out, but it says it's sold out now. And it's $425. And it's 3 foot tall, according to the description. And if you just put backlit cross wall decor in Etsy, you can see here's one, $89. That sounds a little bit more reasonable. This one's $475. I don't know if these guys are getting that much for them. That's what they're asking for them. Here's another one for $80. Just a couple of 2x4s with a light on the back. 110. Those seem more reasonable. But if you look through here, here's one $750 for a 5 foot tall lit cross. Here's another one $315. Here's one, it's way different, but it's $610. This one's really cool. It's got some rebar on it, but the rest of it just looks like a 1x4. And this one's $50. Well, bam, what do you guys think? Okay, I cheated. I already had something hanging there. I just used the same screw. See the one over there? And this is just it without the light. You just want to hang it up there. You don't want a light on all the time. Look how that looks. Okay, ready? With the remote. Boom, look at that. I think the blue was a great idea. What do you guys think? Now this is during the day, so it's a little bit lit up in the room that I'm in. So we're gonna come back tonight and look at how it looks in the dark.
All right. Jasco Goods, he works with wood in a tiny workshop where he has fun. Jasco Goods, he works with wood. He may not be the best, but he's the one. Yeah.